themselves. They're going to have to work it out, and they're going to have to, the opposition, of course, is absolutely terrible. The opposition to doing anything on climate change. Our book was called The Unprecedented Crime of Climate Science Denial. So we were addressing the campaign that's been going on since it started in 1989. Okay, that's when it started. That's when Exxon and all these big companies funded what should I call it? Funded their PR project, okay, with lots of money, to confuse the public, right, deceive the public, and they've been very successful. So I've mentioned a few reasons why we have problems, that there's no progress being made. But of course the big reason is that. The big reason is this campaign, which goes on, and they're terrible. They attack leading academics working on climate change. They literally attack them. Then there's legal cases. They've got deep pockets. They just keep going on and on. So if it wasn't for this opposition, we would definitely have dealt with this years and years and years and years ago. And today, we'd be on the cusp of a true golden age for humanity, because we would be already on 100% clean renewable energy. There'd be no fossil fuels, no air pollution, right? No water pollution, no greenhouse gas pollution. These damn fossil fuel corporations, I mean, they can become energy corporations, right? I mean, there's tons of money being made out of renewable energy, right? But they just have a nasty, nasty mindset. And anything that is energy, they see is a sort of enemy, right? So they've got to beat that enemy, right? Well, in doing so, the fossil fuel corporations are an enemy to all life on the planet, because that is the result of what they're doing. Now, this is going way beyond denying the science, right? We know that. They have lobbyists, and the American administration, I guess every single one, is a well-known climate denier. That means a liar, I mean, there's no getting away from it now. And similar situations happen in other countries. Canada's not much better than the States. We have a liberal government in Canada. They are putting tons of money, government money, into pipelines, pushing tar sands, and we have to get down to, the IPCC 1.5 degree C report was excellent, very, very good report. And particularly because they came out with specific numbers on our emissions. Not many people may be aware of this, but they had worked out the limits of how fast we had to come off oil, coal, natural gas. You add it all up, I added it all up, by 2050, fossil fuels in total will be down by a minimum of 86%, which of course is the industry's gone and it's all been replaced, right, by clean renewable energy. So that was very, very useful to have the IPCC say that. The media did pick up very well on the other number, which was that by 2030, emissions of carbon dioxide, which is primarily from burning fossil fuels, emissions of carbon dioxide had to be reduced by 45%. But that was from 2010. So today, we have to reduce our emissions by 50% by 2030. We can do that easily, easily. Because the IPCC also did a special report some years ago, I think probably maybe 2012. They did a report on renewable energy, and almost the first thing that they said in the report was that there's no limitations on replacing fossil fuel energy by renewable energy, because in 2012 there was plenty more renewable energy that we could put online that would replace all fossil fuel energy. So, hey, people have known that for years and years, you know. Discovery Magazine, Scientific American, you know, they've been looking at solar energy for the States, and they've been putting out things for years. So, but the 1.5C report was great. It gave the politicians absolute limits in numbers, which has been the cause of the worst thing that government leaders and the fossil fuel industry has ever done. And that's what happened at the last United Nations Climate Conference. It was the 24th Climate Conference, so they call it COP24. We've been arguing and negotiating for 24 years on whether the planet's going to have a future. 24 years. You know, it blows my mind. Anyway, what happened then is, we have every few years we have a report, huge assessment by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They're very conservative assessments, right? That's well known. They have policymakers on their panel, and they have to negotiate stuff, and so that it tends to be rather watered down. Let's put it like that. It's not the cutting edge science that they and they don't do risk. They do what is most likely according to their models. Anyway, it's routine that the last assessment will inform the next United Nations conference. So that's how the thing was set up. That's how it's worked, and that's what's been going on since 1990. So the last conference was in Poland in December, and so the Polish team that was running the conference, so they tabled the last assessment, which was the 1.5 degree C assessment. Okay, and 4 countries blocked it. They argued and argued, and they never got the best assessment that the IPCC has ever done. Certainly the most important one. It never got tabled at the conference, which means, you know, according to you know, governance and things like that, that doesn't really exist. They have to wait until the next conference to see whether it's tabled. So these 4 countries, of course, are Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has, at every conference, done all it can to sabotage any good result, right? Then there was Kuwait. There's 2 others, Russia and the United States. So we have Russia and the United States, right, in partnership, right, to sabotage efforts to replace fossil fuel energy with clean renewable energy and give today's kids hope of a future. That's where the hope word comes in, I guess. You know, give them some hope that they're going to have a future. That was the most evil thing to do. Terrible, 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 terrible. That's way beyond denying the science. You know, that's forcing the science out. So, well, we got to push on. I mean, you know, as I say, it's a monster. The fossil fuel energy power is a monstrous thing, and it's been around for a long time, but has to go. You know, we make progress, don't we? You know, we bring in use changes and all kinds of things, And we're on the cusp, of the biggest progress, the biggest progress that our species has ever made, right? In which we have unlimited amount of energy, right? And we can use all our best ingenuity to use that energy. And the energy is 100% safe. There's no side effects, there's no fallout, no problem from the energy. You think about that, right? Not only that, but the more energy gets used, the better the energy becomes, right? Because that's driving the science and technology all the time, and it's amazing right now. And the more of the renewable energy that gets used, the cheaper it gets. So that's happening already. Unfortunately, the huge advantages, this prospect of a true golden age for humanity, in the terms of the money power, the worst aspect of capitalism, that's probably the reason why they're at war with. They probably see renewable energy as a competition, which is absolutely stupid. They should invest in it, for heaven's sake.